All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Thursday, June 17th Legislative Action Committee. Hopefully everyone is inside and staying cool. It has certainly been hot ones the last few days, so hopefully everybody's got some nice air conditioning and it's cooperating for you, hopefully. So anyway, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for attending today. So I'm going to move right into our legislative updates. So we have Christopher Scott from Congressman Obernolte's office. So Chris, go ahead and unmute and take it away. If you do, let me mention right quick, have any questions for anyone, just private message either or direct message either Mark or myself, and we'll be glad to read those questions out to them. I do have, before you start, Chris, and this may be something that any one of our legislative representatives might want to address, but we do have a question here. It says, the new Joshua tree protection rules that the state has adopted are stopping all development dead in their tracks. There is almost no process to mitigate trees any longer. A Joshua tree anywhere within 40 feet of your proposed ground disturbance, anywhere moving soil, aka everywhere on the job site, is a death sentence to the entire job. This has stopped over $20 million in development just for our company in the next 5 years. Every local jurisdiction, Hesperia, Victorville, and Apple Valley have expressed the devastating effects that this will continue to have on building community in the high desert. We need a representative support to fight back. What can we provide you with to begin this process? So I'll just leave that to the four of you, that if you have anything to say, you can address that question. All right, Chris, it's all yours.
Well, good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I just want to make sure. It's good to see everyone. Hopefully we can do this in person soon. But just going to touch on about two bills that the Congressman recently introduced. The first one being HR 3533. The recent cyber attacks on our oil and food supply lines were extremely alarming to us. And so that's why the Congressman has co-authored legislation to support technology innovation for our economic and national security, while also himself authoring legislation to improve national security and speed up technological advancements in cybersecurity by improving the federal government's ability to recruit and manage experts in those fields. Because preparing our country for the cyber warfare of the future is critical to our national defense. In addition to that, and similar in intent, the Congressman introduced a bill to strengthen America's artificial intelligence workforce, and that actually passed the Science, Space, and Technology Committee on Tuesday, so we're very happy about that. And that bill is HR 3844, the Fellowships and Traineeships for Early Career AI Researchers Act, a little bit of a mouthful there. Well, this bill directs the National Science Foundation to award grants supporting fellowship programs for graduate students pursuing research on artificial intelligence. It also directs the National Science Foundation to award traineeship grants that provide graduate students with opportunities for AI research experience in the government or industry, because the Congressman believes that computer science will be critical to the future jobs and to the future of jobs in our country. As well as an important facet of our national security, especially as our nation faces the wave of cyber attacks by foreign actors. So we'll keep you updated on that. You know, we've been concerned about those cyber attacks and disruption in our nation. So we feel it's important and it's a critical issue to attack and actually do something about. So that's it. Those are two bills that I have to offer. You know, of course, and we always want to put a plug for our district office. We always do this. You want to keep it on the forefront of your minds in regard to federal agency issues such as Small Business Administration, the IRS not providing transcripts, or the Social Security Administration. So if you or someone that you know have issues with federal agencies, we're always here to help.
All right, very good, Chris. Anyone have any questions for Chris? I'm not seeing anything in the chat. Anything about the Joshua trees that you have any input on, Chris?
I think moving forward, we can have a discussion in regards to that. You said it was a new California mandate or new California law.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we can, I mean, of course, moving forward, have a discussion, of course, with our counterparts in the state, with the Assemblyman Smith's office and Senator Scott Wilk's office in regard to what we can do.
Okay.
Not quite sure what, moving forward, that's
Yeah.
going to look like, but we can work together.
They put them on the endangered tree species, whatever. So I don't know if that's totally California or if there's any federal jurisdiction on that. So
There probably is.
Yeah. I would think so. Anyway, too much water on those trees. They don't like the water. So anyway, no questions. Let's see. Let me take a look here. Oh, we've got one that just came through. When the time comes to ask for, let's see, this is more for a Wilk and Senator Wilk and Smitty. So we're going to be going straight to Rebecca Tennyson. So I'm going to go ahead and read this question before we get going. It says, yes.
Shannon, real quick, I just wanted to let everyone know, some people are, I think, mistakenly sending me direct messages when they're meeting to either put them in the chat or I'm assuming maybe my name is automatically selected in the chat window. So I just wanted to let everyone know, just to make sure that when you're sending a chat either to the whole room or directly to you, Shannon, that people make sure to check that to box so that they're sending it to where they intend.
Perfect. Marshall, do you have something that you need to read that came to you?
No, I just looked through and I don't think anyways that I have any. I had several messages to me, but I don't see any questions here.
Okay. All right. Then Cassie and Rebecca, here's a question that is coming to you, so maybe you can address it as you do your reports. It says that, are you planning on introducing any legislation to help law enforcement have the power to destroy illegal marijuana grow infrastructure, not just pulling out the plants? So maybe you can, as you give your reports, you can address that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move right to Rebecca Tennyson from Senator Scott Wilk's office. Rebecca, go ahead and unmute yourself, and it is all yours.
Well, good morning, everyone. Yes, since we last spoke, and big ticket items this week, of course, is the governor reopening the state, and also the passing of the California budget on Monday. So with both of those, the budget is not like I promised you last month. We were speaking of the May revise, and I said how to have all these answers for you once it was passed. Well, this was one of those years that the budget was passed as a constitutional deadline. So it was passed on Monday, but the details aren't really in there. So we have close to a $200 billion budget, and there are a lot of good things in there still that were kept. But the problem is there's like a lot of things that there's not the detail. So X amount of money goes to something, but there's no detail on it. So this is going to be one of those years where the trailer bills come in and under the guidelines of policy, and that is where the details will be determined. So technically, the budget was passed out of the legislature. The governor has not signed it because even though the majority party passed it, there's not a lot of, it's not his May revise. You know, they didn't just vote and pass his May revise budget. So there's still a lot of sorting out, as well as the governor has not relinquished his emergency powers. So the legislature did pass something where that's in the budget that he is removed from those emergency powers just while the legislature is in session right now. Then he goes back to his emergency powers, and he's talking about keeping those till next year, June. So that means that what that means to us is that he could close down the state anytime he wanted again. So it's pretty discerning to Senator Wilk, because on one hand, he opened the state up. If the state is well enough to be opened up, why hasn't he relinquished his emergency powers? So that was a big concern for Senator Wilk. With the budget, even though we don't have a lot of details, there were some good things that that are in there that we can see. Like for one, we talked about last month, the Veterans Barstow home did get saved in that budget. Again, they don't have all the details in there, but the Barstow Veterans Home made it. So that was something close to our area that we were all concerned about. But some of the other good things, the utilities, the money set aside for utilities is still there, and that's to help with a lot of the utility issues we're having. So that's still there. Another thing that they were concerned about was that besides the details not being in there with all the specific budget item lines, the rainy day fund, when we went into our emergency last year, $8 billion was taken out of the rainy day fund to help address our pandemic. Well, here we have a surplus of billions and billions of.
Rebecca, you muted.
In this budget, the rainy day fund not replenished. So, and so that's concerning as well. So here we have all this surplus in the budget. The rainy day fund was not replenished. And instead, in this budget that was passed, those item lines are creating new programs. And well-being as they may be, they're being created with the surplus in the budget from this year. And so next year that surplus might not be there, the next year that might not be there. And so it's not sustainable. So there's a lot of concerning things in the budget. Those will be worked out in the trailer bills, the details. So as we need to be updated on how much money is actually going to a specific item. Otherwise, the other good news in there is that it does provide an additional 1.5 billion for the small business grant relief program. So they're continuing on with that. So don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good things in there. We just don't have the details of those items. So those will be forthcoming. And the other thing was there are a few bills that have recently just been voted on, and I know a lot of people ask about them. So there's a few the senator just voted no on. SB 519, and that was hallucinogenic substances from Senator Weiner. Wilk has voted no. The zero bail 2.0, Wilk has voted no. The the veterinary. Anyway, there's a slew of bills still going through. It's bill time now. And it's one of those instances where it's, you know, the bill's been passed, the budget bill's been passed. Now we get to read it and get the details in there. So, but keep in mind that it was a majority vote. Senator Wilk voted no on the budget, and the governor has not signed off on it. It's not the governor's May revised budget.
Okay.
Oh, with regards to the Joshua trees. So that's been ongoing and at the federal level as well. And the bill that was passed is actually a temporary bill. So it's just a one-year bill. So that's going to be revisited. So there is time to get information in there. I believe at the end of this year, that bill expires and has to be solidified. It does harm a lot of our construction and building, and I don't know what to say about that except welcome to California. We just recently had a business in Apple Valley putting up a beautiful medical center, MRI machine, the whole bit, and their whole project was held up because they couldn't pass, they could,
Oh, you're muted again, Rebecca.
until they get permission from Fish and California State Fish and Wildlife to remove not only a tree, but a dead, decomposing for decades on the ground, broken in pieces, decomposing Joshua tree. And that was holding up an entire project, costing the company tens of thousands of dollars a day. And we did get that resolved. We reached out to Fish and Game, and like the question said, it's not a clear-cut project. There's not a specific permit law in place, because that's also very new. And you do have to contact Fish and Game. There's permits to fill out, but a live Joshua tree in so many feet within the building, like the question said, it's difficult. And the good news is that bill is not final, so it's in a temporary status right now. So maybe they could send their pros and cons our way.
Rebecca, do you know what bill number that is?
No, I don't. And my computer is down right now. So I only
Okay,
have-
so what we'll do is, Mark, let's look that up and find which one that one is, and then we'll take it to Inland Empire Chamber Alliance too, because that gives us, 20, 30 chambers, and we'll start writing some letters about it on behalf of, we'll talk to the other chambers and see if we can do that, because it used to be like, I was kind of joking around with the water. You water them enough and they fall over and they'd let you remove them, and that's not the case anymore. They've obviously figured that out. So let's check and see what we can do on that side too. And then I know you guys are working on it. Rebecca, also, I think I saw something come out from the senators. I think it was a Facebook post or something with the fighting with the illegal marijuana grows. Any updates on how I know everybody's battling it?
Yes, and I believe your question was, what was the legislature doing anything? So yes, they are working on legislation to help with that. In the meantime, I believe Senator Wilk is even working with the National Guard because they're working on funding to help in that specific area of the illegal marijuana grow areas that are just sprouting up like crazy. Like our law enforcement are having, they can't even keep up with it. It's so overwhelming. So they are working on monies to be sent in that direction. In the meantime, they have requested the help of the National Guard in some of these instances. And that's already happening in LA, in the LA part of our district. And we could have the National Guard come out to the San Bernardino area as well.
Okay. All right. That's good information. Okay, very good. Okay, so I'm not seeing any, looks like AB 235. Someone is saying that's the bill number on the Joshua trees. We'll take a look at that and see if there's any other ones that are out there also. Okay, all right. Thank you, Nicholas. Anyway, any questions for Rebecca? I'm not seeing anything in the chat, Mark or Marshall, or anything coming your guys' way. All right. Well, if you think of something, we can always circle back around. So just put it in, direct message it to one of the three of us. Marshall will even take your questions. He's used to doing it. So just grab one of us. Okay, so we're going to move on to Cassie Vickers, who's the field representative for Thurston Smitty Smith, our 33rd Assembly District Assemblyman. So Cassie.
Hi, everyone. Thank you guys so much for having me today. I just wanted to go over a few things that the Assemblyman has been working on over the past few weeks. So last week, he did surprise Inger Robertson over at a Better Way Domestic Violence Home with her winning the Nonprofit Organization of the Year for our 33rd Assembly District. This organization helps those who are victims of domestic violence by providing shelter and advocacy services. Organizations like these make the High Desert a better place, and we are thankful for all that Inger and her team have done to serve the community. Next, I have a few budget updates in regards to the EDD. Assemblyman Lori Davies and Assemblyman Smith did send a letter to Governor Newsom asking him to opt out of the weekly unemployment supplement from the Federal Pandemic Unemployment Compensation Program. These enhanced unemployment benefits offer an incentive for people to stay home and not look for jobs. This action would not eliminate typical EDD unemployment benefits. It would just end the additional $300 a week from the federal government. Next, we're going to talk about Assemblyman's opposition to AB 128. Assembly Bill 128 lacks the fundamental reforms to address California's affordability crisis. It doesn't incentivize people to get back to work, and it fails to provide any reform to the EDD. This budget also provides $10.4 billion over the next 4 years for homelessness initiatives without any assurances that will be more effective than the previous $13 billion spent over the last 3 years. We need to focus our budget more on getting the basic government services right for our constituents, and this bill simply does not do that. Next is illegal marijuana grows, which has been a hot topic for all areas of government in our district. So Assemblyman Smith has been taking a very strong stance on these illegal grows happening throughout our district. Him and Assemblyman Tom Lackey did take a helicopter tour of some of the illegal grow sites. This was covered on NBC4, so you could definitely go check that out if you want to see them and everything they were doing over there. His major concerns as of right now are the threat it's causing to the environment through water contamination from the chemicals being used at these plants. Also, the major water theft that is happening as a result of this. We've been working with multiple stakeholders to introduce a plethora of legislation over the next year that has the political ability to pass through the legislature. So there's multiple bills that we're hoping to work on over the next year, covering a wide array of things in regards to these illegal grows. And then in regards to the Joshua trees that was brought up earlier, he does not want to see Joshua trees become an endangered species. It harms development, and he believes that there's enough environmental protection already, though. More environmental protection is not going to help our economy. So that's kind of where Assemblyman Smith does stand on that. That's all of the updates I have as of right now. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, do we have any questions for Cassie? Okay, I don't see anything from Mark or Marshall, so it looks like we're good there. All right, I think you hit all the bullet points with the trees and everything, so thank you. All right. And then I did see the video of the helicopter with Smitty in the helicopter. Go find that, you guys. That was pretty, these are big operations out there. I was just like, wow. So go find that video and watch it. It was pretty eye-opening, at least for me. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move to Kimberly Messon, Supervisor Paul Cook's office.
Good morning, everyone. I know that we've already mentioned a few budget numbers. However, I am also going to be covering the budget a little bit. So thankfully, San Bernardino County wasn't as impacted financially with COVID. We actually were very blessed, and we had recently passed a $7.6 billion budget. The county is still going to be very conservative as far as setting funds aside. So I'm just going to cover a few numbers real quick. They will be setting aside $41 million towards the general reserve. We are going to see $10.4 million going towards crime suppression for the sheriff department, $3 million specifically towards combating illegal marijuana grows. It's something that Sheriff McMahon has been working on with all the offices, all the county departments. We currently have one marijuana enforcement team consisting of 5 members, and we're hoping to grow that to 5 teams, each with 5 members. We are also hoping to fund the whole department with body cams as well. So there's going to be $2.5 million dedicated towards that. $5 million going towards improving county parks. $2 million, an additional $2 million increase going towards physical and mental health funds for county correction facilities. Our homeless strategic plan is also going to get additional funding. So there's funding going across the board, and we're really hoping to increase funding for our departments to provide better services to our constituents. Another huge thing kind of covering the marijuana issue is that the County Board of Supervisors did pass a resolution asking the state to increase the penalties for illegal cultivation. as Cassie mentioned and everyone else, it's a huge problem in not just our county, but LA County. And so we really are urging them to increase the penalties from a misdemeanor to a felony, which is what we're seeing being an issue here compared to the other states who have also made marijuana legal. That's briefly what I have as an update. I did also just want to mention that the county's guidelines as far as COVID goes are in line with the CDC's, just as the states are. The county does not have any enforced mandates. We do just ask that you follow CDC guidelines, and just keep in mind that you are required to wear masks in airports, public transportation, if a business asks, in any hospitals, if a county building asks of it. But that's the update I have, and if anyone has any questions for me, I'm more than happy to take them.
All right, any questions for Kimberly? Okay, one thing I would ask from each of the representatives, could you put your contact information in the chat? I've seen a request for Senator Wilkes or how to get a hold of you guys. So if you could just type it in there, each one of you, then that I think will be, they can reach out to you if they need to. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and move into our Inland Empire Chamber Alliance report. I'm going to report out on that, and then Mark will report out on our CalChamber. So as we've told you guys in the past, we are spending through the COVID year and everything, and a significant amount of time on legislation. So when you reach out to us and give us something that is affecting you or your business, that is extremely helpful, simply because we have this coalition of chambers now through the Inland Empire Chamber Alliance, who, when we send up, opposition or support letters, it seems to be getting noticed more so, as I've said before, than when we were individual small chambers. Okay, so and then add our strength to that, it's made a difference. So at our last meeting with the Inland Empire Chamber Alliance, it was a little bit shorter list that we did oppositions and everything or support letters for, but this one was, we did do a support letter for AB 106, which was a solace bill, which was just more grants available to small businesses. So we did send out a letter of support from the Chamber Alliance. And then we also, if you have been watching the legislation, AB 701 is the most recent one that you can look at, has been very, 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 very bad for the warehouse distribution centers down the hill. So yeah, there's so much that's been going on, that from air quality control to this one that was very, very predatory for those and bad for business. And that is what we chambers are about. We're looking out to support and help our small and big businesses. So anyway, those are two. Then we took a no support bill, because this one's still kind of going along, SB 524, which was the healthcare coverage and patient steering. This would be bad for many of our small pharmacies that are businesses of the chamber, and steering that you have to go to a certain place to get that coverage. So that one's still developing, so we took a position of no support on that one. But you can go to the Inland Empire Chamber Alliance. I know Mark puts that out in the legislative reports. You can go to the website and you can see all of the legislation that we are following, which is significant and different. A lot of opposition letters in the last year as far as the things that are coming out that affect you as small businesses. One opportunity that I want to point out is tomorrow, and this is good for any of you from the Joshua trees to whatever. It's good for all of our elected representative. Senator Rosalisi Ochoa Bogue is going to be doing a virtual discussion with the Inland Empire Chamber Alliance tomorrow, Friday, June the 18th, from 12 to 1. So if you are interested in that, if you'd email Mark, he can forward you the flyer so that you can register, and just email him. And that is another opportunity to let them know even more what we have going on. So that is all I have on that report out at this time. I'm going to turn it over to Mark, and he's going to go through some of the successes and the things that we've had going on with CalChamber.
I almost forgot to unmute myself. Good morning, everyone. Just a few things from the CalChamber. We supported SB 657. This is a bill that makes it easier for telecommuting employees to receive required notices from their employer. We did oppose AB 1041. This bill will significantly expand the California Family Rights Act and paid sick leave to allow an employee to take protected and/or paid time off to care for any person of their choice. SB 335, we oppose. This bill fundamentally alters longstanding rules and timeframes for determining eligibility for workers' compensation claims and moves California outside of the mainstream when it compares to other states. One thing I wanted to mention, this was kind of cool. Lastly, through the Inland Empire Chamber Alliance, we had voted to oppose AB 1003, which was the wage theft and grand theft bill. However, our bill had been submitted after the CalChamber and others had removed their opposition to the bill based on recent amendments. So the Republican caucus asked a policy advocate with the CalChamber to reach out to the Greater High Desert Chamber to reconsider our opposed position and go to a no position. And the Inland Empire Chamber Alliance, we did communicate that to our group, and we did remove our opposition. But what I think is really cool about this, in my 14 years in the chamber industry, I cannot recall ever receiving a call from a policy advocate to discuss bill positions, or if we, the Inland Empire Chamber Alliance, a coalition we're with, would have considered removing any kind of a position like that. So since our chamber, the Greater High Desert Chamber, is the most active, I believe, of the Inland Empire chambers of 20 total chambers within Inland Empire and High Desert, I think it's exciting that they reached out to us first, because I feel that that just goes to show you how important it is for us to be very active on the legislative front. And so I thought that was pretty cool, and I wanted to share that with everyone this morning, that it means a lot that now that we're the Greater High Desert Chamber and we represent the 4 previous chambers in the High Desert, and they're reaching out to us for assistance on a bill. So pretty cool stuff. So that's all I have, Shannon.
All right, that is just to enforce what Mark said. When we were going through the process of merging the chambers for, it was a 4 to 5 year process. One thing on the top of every person's mind that was working on that project was always governmental affairs or legislative affairs, to get that might and strength. Because like Mark said, for years I've gone to Sacramento, and they're very nice to the Hesperia Chamber of Commerce, but that extra might and power with the Greater High Desert, and now with the Inland Empire, when that came over to Mark, he goes, "Hey, they want us to change something." I said, "Hey, that is a success. We've never been asked to do that." They actually amended something that one of our letters was requesting. So very cool stuff. So I don't see any more questions in the chat. I can see that all of the representatives have put their field representatives have put their contact information in there. You've got Mark's. I also put mine in there. If there is something that is affecting your small business, please let us know, because that is why we are here. And we are very, very interested in bringing this not only to Greater High Desert Chamber, but to Inland Empire Chamber. Again, just to follow up, any other questions? I'm not seeing them. You can always reach out to Mark, and he will get it out to the appropriate parties. And then don't forget, if you would like to attend Senator Ochoa Bogue's discussion, just reach out to Mark and he can send you that information.
Shannon, Casey did ask about she said, I know that Smitty is working on it, but the extra $300 per week, when is this going, the unemployment, when is this going away? I don't know if Cassie can chime in on that.
So basically, what Assemblyman Smith is hoping for this is, he believes the extra $300 per week for unemployment is causing people to not want to look for jobs and stay home, essentially. So he wrote a letter to Governor Newsom to end this extra $300 per week. Again, the additional unemployment or the regular unemployment benefits are still going to be in place, just not the $300 per week. This isn't something that's set in stone yet. He just wrote a letter to support it, and then he sent it off to Governor Newsom. But this is something that the Assemblyman believes would help get our economy back on track and definitely incentivize people to go back to work.
Okay. I did hear, and you guys will have to correct me because this says, this was just one of those you hear things. Was it slated at this point to go through October? That extra 300 to continue through October?
Right now, the EDD has said it'll go through September.
Okay, all right. So I knew it was down there. Okay. Yeah, that is everywhere you go, there are people trying to hire. It's just, it's a mess right now. It is. I've seen a couple of remarks on the Stop the Fireworks. I know that Councilmember Swanson is on here. I do know that they're offering rewards. And I just saw something come up from Adelanto, and I'm not sure on Adelanto what they're doing. But we could probably reach out and see if they're doing some of the same. I just don't know on Adelanto.
Shannon, real quick, I do know that Sheriff McMahon informed us yesterday that the Sheriff Department will be helping County Fire on 4th of July in that weekend to help stop the illegal fireworks. So he did say that we will see a lot more of the department's presence. So I don't know if it's going to be a week worth that day or just that weekend, but we will be seeing them collaborating at least that day to address the firework issue.
Okay, very good. Okay, so get the word out. So maybe that'll scare people. We'll put the word out that it's going to be out there. Casey put down, is he the only one that wrote a letter? Cassie, do you know if anybody else wrote a letter on the extension of the unemployment benefits?
So for that, it was Assemblyman Lori Davies.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Casey, on that?
No.
No. Okay. All right. I don't see anything else. Marshall, anything come through to either of you?
No.
Right here.
No. Okay. All right. Then we are done. We're going to give you about 20 minutes back in your day. So we want to thank you for joining us this morning. And we've had really great attendance during this time with it being virtual. So I appreciate everybody taking some time, and let us know if you have anything that's affecting you. That's what we're here for. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
Stay cool.